not a whole lot to be doing with all this snow there. Everything to talk about a little football. That's great. Appreciate Coach Raines having this. We're going to be up here enjoying meeting you guys and seeing some of the problems you have and some of the different things that go on with you and different from your state and our state and what you're facing and problems that you see. And, try to learn some things from you guys, and it's a great opportunity to do that. Been doing with Wing T a long time. Coached 23 years and really been in that for most of that time everywhere I've been. Going out of the running game and throwing as much as we did this year has been a change. I've never had the luxury of having a quarterback that was capable of doing the things we did this year. And that kind of forced us into that, and it's been a lot of fun for our kids to be able to throw the ball that much and do some of the things that we did. And what I want to do in this hour is I want to go through our three-step drop game and kind of our reads and the things that we do off of it. The last part of this, we have our offensive line coach, Scott Ballard's with us, and he's going to go through our protection of it and the technique of the protection in the last part of this hour. And if you have any questions as far as techniques of offensive line play in the Wing T, certainly ask him. He's one of the best Wing T offensive line coaches anywhere, and is very detailed in his teaching and very exact with steps and everything he does, and does an outstanding job. So if you have questions about that, you'll be happy to sit down and answer those questions and talk with you about that. So starting with our three-step drop protection, I'm going to start with just our base, with a base formation, which will be a tight end and split end. And we're going to run this out of several different formations, and we'll go through each of those. And I'm going to start it against a 3 deep, and then we'll progress that in a few minutes into 2 deep and what we do. Now with our split end, the base route we're going to run is just a stop route. And your first question, well, how many yards is that? Well, I really can't tell you that because we only go 4 steps. But our goal in that 4 steps is to get him at 6 yards. Our goal is to get him at 6 yards in those 4 steps. And we do a lot of drills where we just take off and practice getting getting 6 yards in 4 steps. We put those cones down and go through and work those split ends in doing that. And that's his base route, it's a stop route. Now, our split end stance, how do we do that? For us to get that 4 steps and be able to plant and turn back to the quarterback, his inside foot will always be back. Inside foot will always be back, whatever side of the football he's on. And he's going to explode off into the coverage for 6 yards is what we're trying to get, 4 steps. And we try to be very exact on that. And I know it varies a little bit from split end to split end based on height, based on what they can do. But if we have a split end who is capable of doing that without a lot of work, fine. If not, we'll work with the others a little bit more in trying to get that. But it's very important because that quarterback has to know in that stop route exactly where he needs to be. Now, as we go through this, if you have any questions, anything that, stop me and we'll try to answer any questions. Now, just for our base route, our split end is going to come off right there, and we talked about that. That's just our base against a 3 deep coverage. And that's the beginning of our teaching for our 3-step drop. And this wing back, the right wing back, is going to outside release, looking over his inside shoulder. He's going to idle at 10 yards. So as he's in his stance, the first thing he's going to do, he's going to outside release, get a little width, and he's going to look right now for the football. Now as our quarterback comes, and if he sees that wing back is not covered, then there is no 3 steps. He's going to stand up and throw it to him right now. That's his first, that's his automatically first read that he takes. He's going to take the ball, just step up and toss it. And we have gotten that. Not a lot out of this, certainly not out of the 3 deep, but we have gotten that a lot of times people when you go together. It'll just depend on the linebacker being able to run to it or whatever. So that's his first read out of that. Now, route on the backside. The wing back on the backside. We will hold him 2 counts. looking at anything coming off the corner, and then we will drag him underneath at 4 yards.
You know what I mean? He's going to block a corner blitz.
He will collision it, and then he's going to drag it at 4. That's correct. We just kind of protect his backside because backside we don't have any kind of hot read on the 3-step. So we're going to protect him. We're going to protect him, and then we're going to drag under at 4 yards. Tight end is going to outside release. As he outside releases, we give him a general area of 5 yards outside of his alignment and 12 yards deep. We say, well, you can't throw a 3-step drop to a tight end at 12 yards, 5 yards outside. True. And we don't attempt to. And I'll go through that progression here in just a second, what we're trying to do with that. Now that's basically where our people are going to end up. Now, 3D. And I gave you the first progression of our quarterback. He's going to stand up and throw it. That guy, that wingback right there is uncovered. Which obviously that 3D he's not going to be because you've got strong safety sitting in there too tight. Okay, if he's going to take his 3-step drop, the first thing he's going to look on 3D, he's going outside in with his progression. So against 3D, his first progression will be the stop route. Number 1 progression. Number 2, he comes back to the wing back. Now remember, the wing back is outside releasing, looking over his inside shoulder. If he does not get the football immediately, when he gets to about 10 yards, we're going to idle him down. Just going to idle him down right there. Slow him down in the same right there. And what happens is, if we get a strong safety who is going to bail out from the stop route immediately, 1, 2, 3, he turns, and he sees that strong safety bailing immediately, he's just going to turn and drop that thing right into that wing back. Now let's go beyond that progression. We go beyond that progression. We get all that covered. He looks, 1 covered here. Now, here's where he goes to the backside. He will take 2 additional steps. Now he's got a high-low on the linebacker right there. And the one that's always open is always going to be the little drag route. He can just dump it right into the linebacker. Right in under the linebacker to that wing back that's dragging underneath right there. Because what happens immediately when you see drop, linebacker's going to bail, and he's going to give you just a little dump throw, right, a little short throw right there. Now, out of our tight end and split end set, that's just basically where we get everybody. Now, the only thing that changes when we go to the 2 split end set is where this backside split end will be coming from. We're still going to, and that's not a really exact drawing, but we're going to bring him inside like a crack angle and turn him up, and we're going to try to get him in the same spot the tight end was going to be. So he's going to actually come outside in and upfield. And he's still going to be 5 yards wide of where the tight end would have a line and 12 yards deep. And he's going to curl up right there. And that's really the only change that is made out of the whole thing from that point. Now, as we go into the trip set, our outside split end has still got his same route. And we try to get him as close as we can get him and still be off the line. So his distance from the line of scrimmage will still be as close to what it originally was as possible. And he's still doing 4 steps and a stop. And of course, in trips, you're going to get 3 deep, and our read is still going to be outside in with this. Now, instead of 2 seam routes, both the inside split end and the wing are both running the same seam route. Both outside. The wing is still outside releasing, looking over his inside shoulder. The other split end is going to release straight up the field, looking now. And both of those guys now will idle at 10 yards if they do not get the football. Both idle at 10 yards if the football has not been thrown. Now, one of the things that trips will do, it will ensure you first that you're going to get 3 deep. It's rarely do you ever get anybody that will play anything other than 3 deep on trips. At least we're not seeing that. So you insured yourself with that. Now, again, quarterback's first read in the trips. If any of those guys are uncovered, throw it right now. Now what you get, and we've gotten this from time to time, is maybe they'll leave a strong safety, a strong safety on the outside guy, and they'll leave a linebacker here, maybe a 50 for example. They're going to pack those 5 guys in there, and they're going to say, okay, we're going to come after you and all that stuff. Well, when that wing opens, it's going right by that end. The ball's in the hole right there, and there's nothing you can be done. The only way they can avoid that out of a true 50 is they got to get that in, sit on it. Well, that eliminates his rush too. So, but that's basically what we get. Now that's basically where we go versus the 3D. Now let me go back to the top. Let me just go through the other 2 routes. Off our 3 steps, we're only going to do 3 routes with that split end. The next thing we will do is we're going to bring him off on his 4 steps, just like he did. So he's going to be ball here. He's going to 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to plant and go to the post now. He's going to plant and go to the post. That will be our second progression, or in our teaching process in the fall when we go there. He's still at 4 steps. He's going to break at 45. And then we idle him a little bit. We want him to slow a little bit. And we try to tell those guys, a quarterback has a hard time hitting that guy going lateral on a dead run. So we try to slow him a little bit in that hole right there. And then the change from the wing back is that he is running a 5-yard flat route. What he will end up doing is usually dragging the strong safety with him. Because that strong safety backs up, he sees him crossing space, so he's going to widen, and we're going to zip it right behind the ear of that strong safety. And that's where we're throwing right there. And of course, the other one that everybody throws is the fade route off of it, which is the 3rd progression that we start teaching. And we're just going to outside release as we do 4 steps. At 4 steps, we're going to outside release, and we're going to go vertical. And we don't really throw that against the 3D. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. But just versus the 3D. Basically, all we'll ever truly run is the post route and stop route. That's it. We're going to stop it right there.
Coach, what your wingback doing on that 3rd phase?
I'm
Put it into a phase.
He's going to do the vertical route again, seam route again. So the only time he ever has to make an adjustment is when we go to the post route. The only adjustment he has to make. Now, one of the things that this package has done for us is everybody is crowding, and this is really good out of the top set because you've still got all your wing tee stuff, the tight end, bellies, you've got all that stuff. And the thing that this has done is people start crowding that line for that run. And now you've got the quick stuff coming off of it, and they can't bail out quick enough to get back into those posts and get into those stops. And that's been a big help to us. It will get people off of us just a little bit. And that's been really good for us. Okay, anybody have a question? Anything right now? Yes, sir.
Are you giving a play picture to the one back there?
No. No. Okay, now quarterback wise, let me.
On your split end, you said if any of them are uncovered, you just raise up and throw just a hitch to him if the guy's off of it.
Well, he's going to start when the ball's down. He's going to start on his route anyway.
Okay.
But the quarterback knows, and that's why they're taught. As I release, I've got to be looking. My eyes have got to be around right now because
He may throw it at me now.
right, and they learn. Well, wait a minute, I'm uncovered. He's going to throw it right now. So they learn. They'll get where won't turn their eye, won't get their eyes around immediately. They'll know they're covered, so they're not going to get it, so they won't with their pattern. Exactly.
But you keep your wing in the regular line?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So your progression again, you'll split in half and then high low?
Right. It's the 3D then. Our progression, we're going to start outside, work inside next, and then, of course, our backside will be the last part of the progression. Exactly. And that's an important point, and it's a good question, because our progression is going to change when we go too deep. Our progression is going to change when we go too deep. Okay? Yes, sir?
Now, in your progression, after he takes his 3-step drop, he's not open, he takes 2 more.
He will take 2 additional steps. That's right. One, and we try to get a big first step out of that quarterback. 1, 1, 2. And it's really a 3. And you see that the roll of him, it's showing in rolling just a little bit. And we do roll him just a little. Very subtle, but we try and roll him just a little. 1, 1, 2. Okay, now, if he's covered, then he just takes 2 additional steps. Because by then, the rush is going to be in his face anyway. So he just takes 2 additional steps and steps back and does.
You always roll in the same way.
On 3 steps, we do.
Splits over to the side, won't make any difference.
Yeah, but we're gonna, our first step is gonna be back to this guard a little bit.
Assuming you're taking that wing out there, and he's taking that step out for a little timing and things like that. Or block, but what do you do to ensure that he doesn't get there too fast? Because he's stepping out, and I understand when he gets those 2 extra steps, that's basically why he stepped out for that timing.
Right.
What do you do when he gets there just way too fast? How do you slow him down?
All we do is pivot him. We're right here, and we pivot him. 1,001, 1,002, and we just roll it. And we just roll it. It's not a big issue. And truthfully, what we have seen, we're not going to get that very much. Very little will we ever even throw that route. Matter of fact, we have to say on sometimes to get them to actually run the route because they get so in tune, now you're not throwing the ball, and all of a sudden we need him. But, all we do is pivot him and hold him. 1,001, 1,002. Basically like you teach a lineman on the screen, hold 1,001, 1,002 or whatever, and roll.
In his 3 steps, we're in.
Depth wise? No, he won't be quite behind the guard. If I am the center, right here, he will be behind my right foot to the gap. Or we'll just get a very subtle little roll with that. Okay? Now, one of the things that we do, and we try to teach you to do this, is we try to get the safety out of it. So if we drop, sometimes we'll be looking here and then roll back. So we try to look the safety off. Sometimes it's often hard for a young one to do because they want to, they're going to eyeball that guy, and it's tough to do. But you just got to keep doing that to work on that. Okay, great questions. Anybody else?
You don't like the out, you don't throw the out in.
We do not roll the out. We tried coming up and rolling the out, doing the 4-step plant and rolling to the out. We just were never successful consistently hitting that for a high percentage. So we just quit that and went on to run the stop route. And he knows once he plants, the ball should be coming, but he's catching it, so he's working outside anyway. We are going to work to the outside when we do that anyway. What you're doing, putting one-on-one in the corner, you hope you're sitting in a little better in that corner, or you break the tackle. That's where you are. But if you hit some of those, that strong safety, all of a sudden he's working outside a little bit now. So it softens up some of your other stuff in there. Good. Okay? Now, let me talk a little bit about fullback, protection-wise, and then we'll go to 2 steps. Fullback is going to eyeball that linebacker right there first. Inside linebacker. He's going to step, and he's going to look, and if that linebacker is not coming, then he's going to attack right off the tackle's tail. And we want to attack it pretty hard so we can try to keep the hands down. But the thing about that, 50 in, let's say you've got a 50 in, if that 50 in steps upfield at all to rush, we're throwing behind him anyway. So he's really out of the rush lane. But we just don't want him on a stunt collapsing right in our quarterback's lap. But we want to, we'll look at inside linebacker, boom, and then attack right off the outside with attack. Now, our front protection, and he'll go through in a minute, will take care of that linebacker if he's on the line. Our protection will take care of it. If he steps up on the line, our protection rules will take care of that for us. So we're not asking to block the guy if he's on the line of scrimmage. That's not part of our responsibility as the fullback police.
What's your terminology, like that first play, what would you call it?
First play, the top one will be a blue 58, stop. And that's all we use to determine direction. 8 is to the right, 7 to the left. So all of our protection is based on 58 or 68, 57, 67. Which gives us direction.
So the option is red 57.
Right. That's correct. And we don't change routes. We'll call an awful lot of the time. We get into it and learn kind of what we're responsible for. We may just say 58. If we're getting 2 deep some, 3 deep some, we don't know what we're going to get. We just say 58, quarterback split in. Everybody's got to read the coverage. Say top one is in it versus the 2 deep. Now here's the key. Base it on how the corner's playing. If you've got a true 2 deep jamming corner, he's going to squat right there, and he's going to try to get those hands on you, not going to let you release. You can't run a stop route. So that automatically becomes the same route to us. And it's not anything we call, it's not anything we do. We go up, we recognize the coverage, we recognize what's going on, quarterback split in, got to be on the same page. 1, 2, 3, and and what was maybe originally a stop route is now turned into the fade route. Now, the inside, the wing back is still running the seam route. He's still the same. Against the 2 deep, this is where you will get this, because a lot of times people will not cover that wing back sitting out there. And it's an easy thing. He's going to run all the way to safety. And which our quarterback says, I like that. It helps my passing precision. So he enjoys that. And so, it's easy for him, and he will throw that. He gets it.
How wide can we?
He would be outside foot 2 and 2 from where the tight end would be aligned. 2 and 2 from where the tight end would be aligned. Now, let's go back. Anybody have a question on the split in route here? If it's a hard corner 2 deep, okay, he's going to turn it into fade. But if it's a soft 2, if it's a 2 deep shell, and that 2 deep is bailing, we're still going to snap the stop route. A 2 deep that's going to be a 4 deep. If you run deep, he's bailing anyway, and when he's bailing, we're going to snap the stop route off, and we'll still throw the stop route in front of him.
Coach, you said you signal that or anything?
No.
Signal that.
We'll know game plan wise what we're doing, because we're going to know how those corners are going to play that. Plus, it'll take a few snaps and you know what's going on with the corner trying to play that anyway as he comes off. So, we're the same deal. Now, quarterback's progression. We're going to give him a change of progression. 2 deep, his progression becomes inside out. Now, I'm going beyond just standing up and throw it. 1, 2, 3. His first progression is that wing back in the seam. His first progression will be that wing back in the seam route. Now, as he comes off of that, now he turns, and he knows where that split end is going to be. Now, I don't know how much really hard corner 2 deep you get. We get quite a bit trying to force sweeps and so forth, because we are a big split-end sweep team. One of the things that happens is, and you're going to get a good look at it right here, you'll get this safety, squat corner, you'll get this guy running by, and this safety is going to run to that fade route. And that leaves the wing back down the seam wide open. When he sees that happen, he's going to keep running. That's the easiest thing in the world. And he's going to hit the seam route when we get a squat corner. And it's a simple throw. It's an easy throw. It's an easy read, because when we go two verticals on that, which is basically what it turns into, that quarterback knows. All I got to do is figure out what the safety does. He's looking at one guy. 1, 2, 3, safety's take it off. Throw it. If he hangs on the seam, then you got the fake. So we're just 2-on-1 on the safety. And even if the corner squats, tries to get his hands on it and lose him, and tries to turn and run with him, we're still in business, because, you know, everybody thinks the perfect pass, and he gets it in perfect stride, going full speed. Well, it doesn't work that way. More great plays. We made more great plays this year, taking the stupid ball, throwing it in the air, and split in, let it get the thing. Just throw it out there and let it split in and get it, because everybody's got their eyes turned, they got all this other stuff going on, and they lose the ball, they misjudge the ball. You make more plays by accident like that than you do on purpose. Take that quarterback, get it in the air. 1, 2, 3, throw it. Let's split in and go get it. Now the loose set doesn't change anything. A loose set, you can insure yourself a 2 deep most of the time. If they're a 2 deep team at all, you're going to get a 2 deep shell out of a loose set. So by formation, you're going to control what you see. By formation, you'll control what you see. Decide what you want to throw against. You'd rather throw it against the 3 deep, great. You can ensure that by going trailer or going to the red or blue set sometimes. The thing you find in the wing tee, and the thing we find, and we are a multitude of formations, but the thing we find is that because of our formations, people will get in about 2 secondary coverages, and they're going to stay there. Because they're afraid to make an error. They get vanilla because they're afraid they're going to make an error, an alignment or whatever. So we get a couple things, and that's all we get, and they're going to line up there all night long. They don't change it. They just will not change it. And that's where we get it. And the other thing, you can, in having the wing tee, all the misdirection stuff, all the backs crossing, you can pretty well ensure yourself you're not going to get banged. If people are going to play man on you, bless them, let them watch those backs and hang on. Because then you are in business. And that's tough. So man is not really an option of what we get. And then if we get the 2 deep set with the trips, you know, we're still the same thing. You notice the wing back is coming inside that linebacker who's going to be, he's got to split, in 2 deep, he's got to split the difference in 2. He can't sell out on any one of them. So what's going to happen right there is that wing back's going to come inside him, and that middle linebacker has got to hustle if he's going to get there. And if that strong safety, if that Sam linebacker widens very much, we're going to go back to being able to dump it right there. So we're really going to force 3 deep with that formation. I don't know that I can tell you a time yet that we've really gotten a 2 deep, a good hard 2 deep with that set right there. That's really as far as we've got like that with that. Now, off the 2 deep, and go back to our original set. If we're going to do this, we will still run against 2 deep. We'll still take the post route. we will still take the post route. But the way we run it is we come off in our 4 steps. When he plants, we're going to rip through that corner if he's trying to jam us, or even if he's tighter than that, we'll have to come underneath him, rip through him, and make the cut, and then we go slow. Because I tell our split ends, it's good for your health because that safety sitting back there will kill you if you keep going. So once we get him through there, we just almost stop him in there. And when, of course, we get to the post, we got the wing coming to the flat. And, that's a difficult thing to try to tell that corner, okay, the guy closes, here comes the wing. Well, I don't care how you're going to play it, when that wing crosses, that corner is going to collide with it. That will happen. And that's why we're going to run it at 5 yards. Because with that wing, when we run him a flat route, we're going to open him immediately. We got a spot picked out 5 yards downfield, we're going to go down. Right there with over our outside shoulder. And we're going to the sideline in a hurry. Yes, sir.
Coach, I'm sorry, you may have said it, when you call your post, you're going to run against 2 or 3.
Yes, sir. That's correct. We call post, we're going to post. We're going to go to post. The only thing that would get us out of that is if we get a corner that's in that, and we come in there and sit inside that thing and not going to let us in the post. But again, it goes back to reading your coverage. They got to understand what takes the post away. If that takes the post away, then I know I'm going outside and release it. Go fade. I haven't figured out any way to control from the sideline. I guess you can do it with hand signals, and we've done that a little bit. Quarterbacks put in sometimes come up with little ditties on their own, and to get them on the same page on what they're going to do. But what you get out of that is they just got to read that coverage and know where the open spots are.
Do you not ever pre-call the fade?
If I do, that's what we want to run. And we're just throwing it up and saying, okay, our split in better your corner, we're gonna throw it up there and let him get it. Really, particularly toward the end of the season and through the playoffs, as we got people that change coverage and so forth, all I ever said then was 58, and they would know what they're gonna do. Now let me go over a couple of variations here. Some little things that we do off the trips. We've got 2 or 3 little things that we do off the trips. One of them being is we'll run this guy on the stop and run the post behind him. We'll just get that right there. And that's been a nice little thing for us. Just let the end, just kind of switching those 2, run the post. Okay, now as we get that, we're going to call post. This guy knows, wing knows anytime we got the post call or he reads the post coverage, we're going to come to the flat with him right there. So he's crossing behind that inside split in. Now, to explain the next part of this, you got to understand one of the things that yes, sir. He's running the stop route. He's running the stop route. The inside split ends on the stop route, and the outside we've got the post behind. Okay, let me set up what we've got. One of the things that we do. We've got a little deal in our package where we do this right here. The outside split end cracks. We just turn and throw it to the inside split end. He just steps back, catches, and he's going to be around that crack block sideline, okay? Now, saying that, set up what we do next. Because sometimes that strong safety gets up there, we get in that trip step, he gets the crowd in there, because he doesn't want to get that crack block. And so he's going to crowd that thing, take it away. So all we do is we step him and step him back, and that pulls that strong safety, and there is a gigantic hole right behind that strong safety. But now we set it up by just throwing this is what we call, this big 58 now, we just stand up and throw it to the inside split end. And a little little thing that we do, we change his feet when we do that. We step him up one and back. Now everybody gets kind of panicky when that strong safety gets up there pretty tight on that, but you can still throw the thing. That outside split in will crack. You still get it there, and when he does, he's around the corner. So sometimes we'll just do the same thing. Step up, back, like you're going to catch the quick pass out there, and run the post right behind him. And then 3 deep, there's obviously a gigantic hole right there. And when we,
What do you call that, you run the post, after you run the ground?
68 posting now. We call our receiver our route outside in if we want to specify. So if I say post at the outside receiver now, means he's going to back up. So I go post now seam, and go post now flat, and run him in anything you want to run. Get him. Now, another little adjustment, and I'm going to let Scott get up here and talk about protection. Another little adjustment that we do. That. Okay. Little adjustment that we do is we call Z motion. Sometimes if we want the wing back out of the way or we need extra protection backside, we do Z motion. So if we got 58 call, which is to our right, 58 stops to our right, okay, then we'll put the wing back in motion, 3-step motion, and then we'll still run the 3-step drop and take him on through and block the backside for us too. Because people will start sometimes kind of cheating with that motion. You get the motion, well, we start cheating. So we do Z motion, which we just take him to Z motion, 1, 2, 3, and then take him all around in the 3-step, and you've got twins set out there to throw your 3-step drop into. Oh, good. It's kind of hot down here. Okay, now what we would do, out of the trip set right there, we would just put him in motion, bring him around, block the backside right there. So we played a team in the semifinals that had an outstanding defensive end. And we weren't going to block him on 3-step drop if he was deciding he was coming for the quarterback. I don't care what we did. So what we ended up doing was to make this guy responsible for him. He was right here. If they put him right here, then he's responsible for blocking, and our fullback was responsible. That put 2 people on him. If they had him on the backside, then we brought him in motion and brought him off the backside. So that's just a little something you can do to give you a little extra protection if you got somebody. And I know some of you guys play so many guys put defensive ends out there on the corner that my fullback ain't gonna block. Forget that. So we'll end up with a way to get 2 guys on. That's kind of what we do.
Hey, can you get 2 guys on one backside?
We can by taking that extra wing back and let him.
Instead of having him split wide and leaving in?
Exactly. I thought that quarterback. How tall? About 6'3". Only a junior. Well, I'll be talking about passing next year, believe me. He's about 6'3". He's probably about 190 right now. And he's Coach Rain saw out there a while ago. You have to pay him to run the ball, but he can't throw the ball. Yes, sir.
Coach, on your now route there, what's your right after this? You just get down on the safety?
If we throw the now pass, we're going to play the crack the inside linebacker. Okay. All right, Coach Ballard, go get up here. We'll let him go through the protection a little bit.
Yeah, it'll get hot. Hummer sitting like DCR.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Coach Martin doesn't say nice things about me at home, so we have to come here. You can take this, or you can do your own protection. But the thing I think you have to do with offensive linemen is you have to make it personal with them, pass protection. You have to make it a matter of pride. That's what we try to do. This quarterback he's telling you about, in practice he wears a red jersey while the rest of us wear white, and that means hands off. You know, and I tell our guys, it's kind of like your little brother, you know. Our offensive linemen stand back and point at him and tease him and laugh at him, but you're not going to touch him, you know. It's like your little brother. You can pick on him, but your neighborhood kids aren't going to pick on him. And we make it a matter of pride. So whether you're doing this protection, whether you're doing your own protection, I think that's the key to offensive line. protection. We see a lot of different defensive fronts. We love to see an even front. We see quite a bit of odd, but we love even. I don't know what you guys see here, but these rules right here are going to make it pretty easy, because no matter what you're going to throw at us, we're going to block our rules. And if we block our rules, whether you walk, like the coach said, you walk a linebacker up, no matter what front you've got, we've got it covered. We know what's going to happen. Let me draw up. I'm just going to draw up just a straight 50 front to begin with. And I don't know how much you guys see that. The worst of all possible situations, like you talked about before, people are going to put as many people as they can up here to crowd us, make us throw the ball. They're going to bring everybody. If we're running 58, as you talked about, okay, which is going to the right side. Play side tackle's rule is on, outside, cut block. Now, when we say on, outside, we're talking about anything from a 4-eye all the way out to a 7. Okay? And on outside is a progression that he goes through. The first thing he's checking is on. So, of course, in a 50, he's going to have a man on him. His rule is cut block. We're doing that to get his hands down. We play a lot of tall kids. We're going to get their hands down, let our quarterback see over it. The way we're going to teach that, and the way we teach our defense, we're hands-on first, And if a good 50 tackle, you just dive at him, he's got his hands on you, and your face is in the ground, his hands are still up. So we're teaching this. 2 steps. His goal is my offensive lineman's goal is to step on your feet. So he's going to come out of his stance and try to step on your toes as a defensive tackle, put his head between your legs and submarine. Now, if a man's in a shade, if he's out here in a 5 technique, and of course our steps aren't here, obviously our steps are going to be out here. If he's way out in the loose 7, it's even tougher, but we're still taking our steps out there, taking 2 steps, trying to step on his toes, head between the legs and submarine to get his hands down. Play side guard's rule is on inside. So, of course, in a 50, he's got nobody on. He's really got nobody inside. So we're going to get back to that. The center's rule is on backside. Now, center and the guard have to work together. Center and the guard are blocking those 2 players. Nose guard and the backside linebacker. Play side guard and center blocking nose and backside linebacker. Center's going to step up. His first job, if it's 58 with the ball going, with the pass going this side, he's putting his head on the left side. He's going to step up and punch right here, and the guard is going to step to the inside and make a little wall. So he's going to step right in here without getting any depth across the line of scrimmage, and the center's going to put his head here. Now, the reason we're doing that is so if you're playing a game with these 2 players right here, we're going to pick it up. If your nose is slanting there and you're playing that game, guard's going to take your linebacker, your center's got your nose. If you're going the other way, the center's going to take this linebacker, guard's going to take the nose. It's pretty simple. Hardest thing to teach now is for this guard right here to not get any room, penetration across the line of scrimmage, because he comes out and does this, and the nose is slanting there, and the backer's going there, and the nose is under him. You can't touch it. So when he comes out of his stance, he's on inside, got nobody on, got nobody inside. He's stepping straight toward the center, just like this. Center's got his head to the other side. The other hard part about teaching that guard, and Coach talked about this a little bit with the fullback, this guard right here is going to ignore that linebacker. I mean, that's hard because, if this linebacker's stunned on running plays, the guard's got to really know where he is. Fullback, his first read is that linebacker right there. And it's really difficult to get that guard to ignore it. Let me tell you what happens. If they send both linebackers right there, all right, and the nose does this, the guard steps out to take the linebacker, all right, the center takes this linebacker, nobody gets the nose because the fullback's not looking for the nose. So you got to teach the play side guard to ignore the play side linebacker, and that's hard to do.
Unless he walks out.
Right, and I'll draw that in just a second. Backside guard and backside tackle, your rule is step and cup. Right here. So what we're teaching step and cup is he's coming out of his stance, stepping to the inside, hinging his hips, looking to the outside. Anything rushes to your inside hip for the backside tackle, anything rushes to your inside hip, let it go. You're responsible for outside. The guard has got anything coming across his face. So if you're bringing this one here, guard's going to pick him up tackle's gonna pick that one up.
Okay, fullback standing up.
Yes.
Yes. Now, the fullback's read, in my opinion, he's got the toughest job in the 3-step and 5-step drop. He's reading first, that linebacker, second, that end. All right? Now, you're going to say, you know, somebody asks, well, what if you bring both? Well, hello. You know, we'll take that. If you walk this guy up, this linebacker walks up, the guard's rule is on inside. If he walks up, he's on. Stay right there and block him. Stay right there and block him. Step and cup, step and cup.
You have a call for your center when that backer comes up, that way he doesn't step left. I mean, I know he can see him, but.
I'm sorry? I have a call?
Yeah, call for that center when that backer steps up there, because, you know, he's not.
Not a specific call, but the center's, you know, the guard's going to tell the center, I'm on. You know, I got a guy on me. So, but no, we don't have a specific call. But yeah, I like those guys to talk to each other. I've told them, crap, I don't care if you point to them and say, I'm blocking this one, you got to block that one right there. You know, as long as you're able to do it, I don't care if they know. Now we see some of this. You know, you can line your people up again. You line your people up wherever you want, but these are, you know, these are our rules that we're going to block. Toughest block for the play side line, for the play side tackle is a 7 technique. Okay, if a guy's going to play a 7 on this wing out here and rush the passer from this direction, that's a tough cut. Okay, but you still got to step toward him, take at least your 2 steps and submarine and get his hands down. Now this guard's got a man on. Okay, again, on means anywhere from this tip of the pad to this tip of the pad. All right, he's going to set up and block him. Now in an even, center's also going to step back and cup, step and cup, step and cup. His rule is on backside. Well, he's going to step, you know, attack this guy a little bit, but not really lunge right into him. We're going to kind of just form a wall right here, these 3. So if he rushes there, he rushes there, he's going to outside protect. Formation doesn't matter to the lineman. So coach, he sends in loose right trips, 58, posting now or posting stop, or whatever he calls. Our lineman here, blah, 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 58, blah, 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 on 1. That's all they hear. It's real simple for them, you know. They don't have to remember a whole lot of things.
Hey, Coach.
Yes.
Maybe I need to direct the question to you. How much, you get much 50 out there since that wing is real wide, the defense again holding that wing up, keeping him from releasing? Do they try to do that a lot? Are they ever effective when you do that? Do you have to widen him out or anything like that?
Sometimes we'll widen a little bit. We're going to run a 50.
We spend about 20 minutes a week on pass blocking. We try to spend 5 to 10 on Monday, which is our Monday is split between offense and defense. We spend at least 10 minutes on Wednesdays, which is our offensive day. And again, we try to make it a matter of pride for our kids. These rules are simple to learn. And again, if you'll learn the rules, you can throw up there whatever front you want to throw up. You may try to outnumber us, but if you try to outnumber us up here, we got a quick route the coach was telling you about out there somewhere that you're going to get burned. We have, this season, we snapped the ball in a drop back pass 106 times, I think. We gave up 9 sacks. Now, a lot of that was in our 5-step drop. Most of the sacks were against the 5-step drop that we'll talk about tomorrow. And in my opinion, as the line coach, the quarterback holds the ball too long. But we're pleased with our protection. We've talked about doing that next year. I tell you what, we've had some good offensive linemen the last few years, to be honest. I mean, and I've enjoyed that. This year we're going to have some young kids, and to help them out, I think we're going to try to do that. If we can find a center that can do that consistently, that's definitely an option, and nothing's going to change. He's already in his 3-step drop by that point. Anybody else have a question? Again, if anybody has a question about any facet of blocking for the wing team, anything that we do that might be different from what you do,
Is your 5-step protection basically the same, just not
the tackles, both tackles are going to be a little bit different. Other than that, it's basically the same.
here tonight, tomorrow, and a lot of the stuff I drew up here, I kinda had to hurry through. You know, an hour's not very long to talk about it. If at any time tonight you'll catch me and sit down and go through it, I'll be happy to spend all the time you want going through it. Going more through our read, how we teach it, any of that stuff you want to do, I'll be more than pleased to sit down with you and go through it. Get us to do that kind of stuff. We'll talk about the 5 steps tomorrow, but I tell you, 3 steps, if you got quarterback and throw it all, 3 steps is, you don't have to protect it a very long time. You get it out there and get it gone, and it's pretty simple. And I think it's been very helpful for us. So if you want to sit down with me, I'll be happy to do that.
Thanks, guys.
They will be going on tomorrow at 11:50 in the west room over there, I think. I don't know if that's what he has number-wise. They can get on chairs and kind of touch each other there. But anyway, they're going on 11:50 in one of these rooms. I don't know.
Does that make Coach Williams is gonna start?
Coach who?
Williams?
Yes. They'll be going at the same time. Okay, Coach Williams, Lawrence County Regional, talking about second back at the same time. Coach Martin, 11:50. They'll be in place of Coach Shepard, who couldn't make it from Knoxville Hall. All right, so we're going to take about a 5-minute break here, and Coach Holcomb will be back into this room on our next session. All right, I'll tell you before Coach Holcomb will talk about breakfast tomorrow.